And good morning, Barcelona. How are you? I'm Nick Kalyani, co-founder and CEO of Decentology, and I'm here today to talk about how you can transform blockchain skills into actual capacity. So let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about Web 2, which is our current web right now. The reason Web 2 is so successful is because of APIs, application programming interfaces. These are what's used by developers to build applications. Some of these names might be familiar with you. Stripe, it's used for e-commerce transactions and payments. Twilio for messaging. AWS, Amazon Web Services, for storage and all kinds of other things, and Google Maps for location services. So there are thousands of other APIs like this. For developers, what APIs did is made it open. It made the web a really open place where they could build and innovate without compromising security. So one of the things that's very important in Web 2 is while open with these APIs, there are standards like OAuth 2, etc., that made things very, very secure and therefore safe for large companies, small companies, everybody to build innovative applications. They did this while giving millions of developers opportunity. So because Web 2 is so easy to build for, developers anywhere could build applications and make money. So this gave them a chance to uplift themselves, to change their lives remotely without necessarily being at a place in an office. They could be anywhere and they could make money. So this was a huge innovation that came with Web 2. This is the power of composability, the ability to use APIs that other people have created and put them together into your own applications to generate value and generate income. So that's what Web 2 has given us. That's where we are now. Now let's look at where we are with Web 3. Let's talk about that. So the current generation of Web 3, let's see here, has high friction for developers. So it's not easy to work with. Developers have a hard time getting started. And this is why you don't see the number of developers in Web 3 as high as in Web 2. So the first thing is that in order to build smart contracts, which are the basis of most blockchain applications, you require advanced skills. In addition, you require to use code libraries that are created by the blockchain protocols. But the sad fact is that a number of them are broken. They just don't work. And the reason for that is because the pace of change is so fast. Things are changing constantly and the libraries can't keep up with it. So what happens is that the blockchain's upgraded, developers are trying to build something, but the library doesn't work. And it turns out to be a very frustrating experience for developers. In addition, because of that pace of change, the documentation is also incomplete, which makes it a double whammy. Like the software is broken, the documentation is incomplete, and for developers, that continues to add a lot of friction. The other thing that happens is because developers are working in silos, each developer is writing their own code and deploying to the blockchain. Now, you must know that on blockchain, storage is very expensive. And to continually have developers write code and deploy more or less the exact same code again and again is extremely wasteful. It's not a very efficient use of blockchain resources. The other thing is, as these developers write these contracts, some of them tend to become very big. And the more code you have, the more chances you have for bugs, and the more chances you have for vulnerabilities, especially security vulnerabilities. And so what happens is that a large number of smart contracts that are out there are essentially very insecure. You hear about these hacks all the time. You hear about millions of dollars lost in smart contracts, etc. There's a reason for that. The reason that happens is because there is such large contracts written. It is not possible for humans, any one human or even a group of humans, to just manage that and make it secure. It's really, really difficult and really, really challenging. There's also another problem. As more and more of these smart contracts are created, there's no way to find them. How do you discover what contracts are available? On Web 2 right now, if I want to find a payment API, I'll go to Google and type payment API, and I'll get a list of all of them, and I can choose them. I can go look at their website, etc. But for smart contracts, there's no such thing. There is no way to discover what smart contracts exist. The next problem is also that when certain businesses have smart contracts and they want to make sure they are secure, they hire auditors to audit them. But these auditors will provide a report about what the problems are, but they have no accountability. Once the smart contract is deployed, the code is there forever. It cannot be changed. And if there's a bug or a problem, the auditors have no responsibility for it. So this is a fundamental flaw in the audit mechanism. So all of these problems compound and create a problem of capacity, a larger problem of capacity. The reason we don't see Web3 developers at scale, lots of developers like in Web2, is because of all these problems compounding. So what exactly is the solution to this? So let's look at our solution. So the first thing is that, I'm sorry about this, the clicker doesn't work very well. All right, so what if we had a few smart contract devs with advanced skills, really knew what they were doing? What if we got them to work on some smart contracts, but we made that smart contract code very modular? So it was easy to package up and easy for others to access. What if we did that? And then what if we made the code have metadata so it's discoverable? This advancing here is a problem. There we go. So if the code was modular, then other developers could use it very, very easily. And that code is written by developers with advanced skills, so they know what they're doing, so we know the quality of that code is good. Next, what if that code had been checked out by auditors and made sure that it was secure? Now this essentially brings all the capabilities of Web 2 to Web 3. It's essentially bringing API model from Web 2 into Web 3. This is an innovation. This is how things can move forward. Let's call them smart modules. So you have smart contracts, which are entire programs on the blockchain, but let's put those aside and instead make smaller smart contracts, almost like building blocks, Lego blocks. Lego blocks work because you put them together in different ways in any shape that you want. What if we, instead of having developers write these long, complicated smart contracts, we had a few of them create smart modules that other developers could then use and put together? What would the result be? So here's what the result would be. Millions of developers with less skills who don't know advanced smart contract programming. It will create for them an opportunity. It will create for them the ability to take those smart contract blocks and from them create amazing new apps. And those apps could be very, very complex. But here's the best part. The development process for the devs would be very, very simple because they don't have to know how these blocks work. They just got to put them together. So this is innovation. This is the future of how we can solve this problem around scalability. The other part that's important is these modules, because each one is individually developed by an advanced developer and also checked by an auditor, each one is individually secure. So the aggregate of them is also going to be generally quite secure, and it frees the developers from having to think a lot about security. And that makes the overall Web3 much more secure. So this brings us right back to Web2 and the concept of income. Now, developers all over the world, even if they don't have advanced smart contract development skills, can leverage these smart modules and build applications that can help them generate income. And once you unlock that, what you have done is you have transformed blockchain skills into capacity. Now we have opened up the world for people without advanced smart contract development skills to build very sophisticated apps. This is a huge unlock for Web3, and it's going to transform how Web3 grows, and it will rapidly outpace even the scale at which Web2 grew. This is the power of composability at scale in Web3. My company is Decentology, and we are building Hyperverse. This is an open, DAO-managed, and decentralized marketplace for composable smart contracts at scale. It works with any blockchain. And it is how we want to make sure that developers, no matter where they are, no matter what their skill level is, they can participate in Web3 and they can start building amazing smart contracts and amazing decentralized applications. Like the way we look at the world is that currently the development landscape is a flywheel. So first, we have advanced developers who will learn and build. So they build these smart modules. On the other side of the equation, you have lesser skilled developers who can discover these modules that have been built by the advanced developers and compose them. As those are composed, it attracts more of the advanced developers. They're like, wow, there's some money to be made here. Let me get into it. And they will build more of these. And this is a flywheel. It'll keep on accelerating as more and more developers get into the mix, and more businesses will then feel confident about building applications. So this is the growth flywheel, and this is going to transform completely how Web3 works. It is going to take the model of Web2 to unlock Web3 at scale. So that's my presentation. Thank you so much. My name is Nick Kalyani. Please follow me.